Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee with a Career Coach. I am super excited this week. I say that every week, but I'm very excited this week because we have an exciting guest, Abby, who is our graduate assistant, and she's going to introduce herself in just a couple minutes. But as always, I will introduce myself real quick because I think you guys know me by now, but my name is Erica O'Toole, and I am an assistant director in the Career Development Center. I work with the College of Education and Human Services and also our global campus students. I also supervise our First Impressions program and our outreach program. So I am a two-time alumni, so I am a huge CMU fan. I love this university and I love working with all of our students. I am joining you from my home this week. So last week I was on campus. We are doing every other week, but Abby's joining you from our office, so that's kind of fun. So as usual on our Coffee with a Career Coach, I share with you what I'm drinking in my coffee. So this week I dropped my son off at daycare, so I got to stop through Big-B, which is always a treat. And I have iced coffee, which I know is crazy because it's winter, but I just cannot, I don't know. I love my iced coffee. I'm a forever iced coffee girl. And I always do with White Lightning and their caramel syrup. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. I actually am so crazy about it that I bought bottles for my house. So definitely try it if you haven't. And then I still have a mug because I always share a mug story. I am obsessed with Rae Dunn. You guys have seen like my whole Rae Dunn coffee mug collection. And so with everything going on in our world and all the craziness, this one's just inspirational for me and a positive note of be the light. So I love this one and I thought I would share it with you all today. No really fun backstory. I just love this mug. So without further ado, I am going to hand it over to Abby.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Abby Farball. I'm a first-year graduate assistant here at CMU's Career Development Center. I am drinking orange juice today in my sunflower mug. Some fun facts, because I do not drink coffee, and I thrifted this mug from Goodwill, so I saved money. And it's also my favorite flower, and I'm part of an organization that I recently started up here on campus called More Than a Body, which is a community for survivors of sexual violence to come together through healing and decompression events and kind of lean towards the light and learn what makes them more than a body or their trauma. So definitely check it out if you're interested. And I also just love the colors yellow and orange, so I'm very excited. And I currently am working on starting a program here at the CDC for students to learn professional career development tools through workshops and then earning a certification of completion at the end, which will be called Fit for Hire. And stay tuned for that as well over the next coming weeks.
Awesome, Abby. Abby has been a star in our office, and we are just so happy to have her. Not only is she always smiling, which is so representative of her love of sunflowers, but she's developing all these awesome programs. So I wanted to bring Abby on today because I think it's so important that we hear the perceptions of a lot of the different things within career development from a student. And what better way than from somebody living basically this whole thing out within our office. So I brought Abby on to get a perspective on networking and professional branding today. As always, we encourage you all to ask questions. I see that we have some viewers live today. So hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Please feel free to say hello in the chat, share what you're drinking in your coffee today, and then ask questions as we go. We love to answer your questions and make sure that we are answering everything that you would like as well. So as we go, we do have a couple questions prepared. So Abby, I'm going to start off by asking you, how do you as a student see the importance of networking?
So for me personally, I have gained a lot through the different networking I've done over the past few years. I ended up getting this GA-ship because I had a prior position at my undergrad Kent State as a career peer. And the whole reason I got that position as a career peer I won't say the whole reason, but one of the incentives, I guess you could say, was that I had actually met with a career coach prior to my interview as a career peer, to see what they do for a living and testing out whether or not I wanted to eventually end up in the field myself. And then a few weeks later, I applied for the career peer position, and the person who I had met with was one of the people on the interviewing board. And so it was great to see him again and reconnect and share with him why I was interested in the position after our conversation. But in general, I think that no experience is too big or too small, and everything, whether it's good or bad, could really lead to professional and career development and finding what works for you, what your passions are, and what you eventually would like to do as a career post-college.
That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Abby. And I think that's such a great example too, that, that you, such a small situation, and then, you come into this interview and again, you meet this person. So what a great example.
Thank you. And Erica, could you provide an example of how something small could lead to a future opportunity?
Absolutely. So I have a really great example of this, actually. I think, it's important to note that I have networked so much throughout my career, and I think that's why I emphasize it so much to students. I've seen the importance of it, and I think that a lot of my career moves have been primarily because of networking. Working on your resume is important, building up your professional profiles are important, but networking is such a huge part of really the application process and building yourself up professionally. You never know when those small opportunities are going to lead to something big. And so right out of college, my background was actually in apparel merchandising. So my plan was to move to a big city and do some type of visual merchandising position. And my husband ended up getting a teaching job in Mount Pleasant. And so, as you know, fashion isn't a huge industry in Mount Pleasant. So I had to get a little bit creative. So I did a retail job through networking. That was how I had gotten into a management position within Mount Pleasant at a large retailer. And then, through a series of networking over those next 6 years, I became an instructor at CMU for a little while because, again, of networking and using my resources from when I was a graduate student. And then I was working a small part-time job. And I had actually met a CMU professor who I had mentioned that I'd really like to get back into higher education. And, along networking with him over a year's time, he introduced me to my current boss, Julia, who I have now worked for about 7 years. And that is how I ended up in this position. As a student, I never really knew that this was a career path, I guess. It never really dawned on me. And I think that's how a lot of students, see higher education, I guess. They don't really realize for the most part that it can be a career path. And so I met with Julia. We, discussed my career path and my goals. And I started out part-time in the office. And 7 years later, I'm in a permanent assistant director position. And so it's just looking back on it, it was such an incredible experience that it was the small networking piece that led me into my permanent position as an assistant director, that in a position that I absolutely love. So, I think it's just so important. And I like to share that story with students because we emphasize networking so much, but that just shows how much it really can help. So.
Yeah, it definitely leads you to different opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was actually offered this position because I believe my resume was sent to Kevin and he saw the career peer position on the resume, and the program coordinator at the time had emailed me saying, is this something that you'd be interested in interviewing for as a GA-ship? Because originally I wasn't scheduled to interview for this position. And so I was like, oh yes, I would love to, because it reflected what I like to do as a career peer, but a little more advanced. And here I am. So it's very interesting, just the things you can share with people who then connect you with better opportunities down the line.
Absolutely. And things that you never considered or never even realized were a possibility. So
yeah, I didn't know higher education was a field. When I found out that I could stay in college forever, I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah, and help students find their passion, which is just, it's such a fun thing and such an amazing career that I found. So,
For sure.
All right. So, Abby, with the pandemic, I know that things have been challenging for our students. And we've seen a shift, right, on the way that we have to advise and the way that we have to help them with their networking. So, for you as a student, how has networking changed for you with the shift to virtual?
So I have two examples, one professional and one personal, to kind of answer this question. For starters, I have been invited to a few higher education, not conferences, but professional development meetings to kind of learn more tools to utilize when eventually I will meet with students. And I've noticed a lot of professionals will share in the chat their LinkedIn. So we all connect via that way with a little note introducing ourselves and meeting virtually that way. And personally, when I was implementing the chapter of More Than a Body here, I utilized my resources of being a member of the Organization of Women Leadership here at CMU as well. And they have about 50 plus members. And one day I reached out to the president of the organization asking if I could pitch another organization idea to them, just because they had the kind of values and mission that I was hoping to implement or relate to in my own organization. And she ran me the opportunity. I did a pitch and I was able to find my 4 e-board members virtually. I have not met them in person to this day. And I was able to find an advisor as well as recruit over 16 plus people to join our organization and 70 plus people to follow us on our Instagram. So definitely using what you have either virtually in class, through an organization, through people you may have known from the past, and utilizing their resources as well as their help to connect with people for your future plans or projects really, how do I end the sentence? Really is beneficial for your professional development.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And I remember after you had done that pitch, how you were so surprised at how quickly people were responding and emailing you.
Yeah, it was immediate.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to shift gears a little bit here. We've talked about networking. So I want to talk a little bit about professional branding. So what do you consider professional branding?
So for the professional standpoint of like when I'm eventually a career advisor, it would be making sure that your headings are consistent on your professional documents, such as your resume and cover letter. Make sure that you get those checked by one of our what is your direct title again? Is it career coach? But it's not. It's assistant director, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So having your resume or cover letter reviewed by our assistant directors here, and making sure you're utilizing LinkedIn to reflect the same values and mission that you are trying to uphold and also accomplish in your own career development. So for me, one of our responsibilities, you could call it, as a graduate assistant is we have to kind of document what we're doing throughout the 2 years to reflect what we've learned both in the classroom and through our graduate assistantship. And so for me, I've utilized LinkedIn and I made a heading called Abby Hour, where every Monday and Wednesday I post something career professionally development related. So for me, I like to think I'm very optimistic. I'm very sunshine and look on the bright side of things. And so I oftentimes like to have like a sun included with whatever I can do. So I made a little like heading for the Abby Hour with the sun and the sunflowers. And I have Mindful Mondays where I post little career tips related to your mental health, as that's something I'm really passionate about. And then on Wednesdays, I have Work On It Wednesday, where it's just tips for students as well as professionals in the field to up their professional development or career development through miscellaneous tips, such as like how to interview, how to dress for an interview, or what to do with a thank you note post interview. I do more than interview, but that's the first thing that came to mind. Yes. So just all of that, making sure that you're carrying your own brand and trying to represent that in any manner you can. And I would also think that would apply to social media as well. So LinkedIn is the professional social media, but making sure that your Instagram and Facebook don't have anything that could withhold you from a potential opportunity down the line.
Absolutely. Definitely. I think that's great. I love your examples because those are so great for that professional branding aspect. And definitely, I think I like what you mentioned about social media because it's so important that, we're keeping things professional with social media too. That's a part of your professional brand. We think of these documents that we're sending out. We think of, all of the professional things that we're doing, like our website, but really our social media that we post on every day and that we use to, advertise to our friends and talk to our friends on, that's a part of our professional brand because employers are going to check that when they go to look to hire us. So definitely it's all encompassing as part of our professional brand.
For sure. And Erica, how do employers value professional branding?
Absolutely. So, employers definitely value professional branding, and I think that's kind of twofold. And I'm so happy you did bring up the social media aspect. When we talk about application materials like your resume, your cover letter, for an employer to be able to see all of those documents and that they go together and they make sense together and they carry a brand, that's extremely important because they want to be able to see that you as a candidate are able to advertise yourself and put a brand on yourself. But then outside of that as well, as far as social media, that's going to be one of the first things that they look at as they're interviewing you. So I know for us, I've been on multiple hiring committees, and as we're going through and we are looking at resumes, if we look at a resume and we say, okay, this looks like a pretty good candidate, let's check their social media. Let's check how well they're portraying themselves online, especially with the shift to everything being so virtual. It's such an important part of that professional branding. And I would say that, if you feel like you're not able to portray a professional brand enough within those documents, your resume, your cover letter, like let's say you're in more of a creative field, maybe you're within photography or graphic design, and you just don't feel like your brand is really getting out there enough, creating a professional website is a great way to show that professional brand. Being able to put different documents up there or projects that you've worked on, and then putting that right on your resume. That is a great way to showcase that professional brand.
I would also include having, if you do having your own social media for your brand. I have a few friends that I follow who are photographers, or they make Etsy earrings. These earrings actually are from one of my own friends from Kent State who is in textiles, Megan Taylor, if you'd like to look into her. But I'll plug her in real quick because she was the founder of More Than a Body too. So there's like all these all these connections. But utilizing your friend, I won't say utilizing your friends, but making sure your friends who are supportive of your goals or your professional business, having them share your posts on their own stories, or having giveaways that they could participate in and kind of tag more people to gain awareness of your business. Even if they don't win or if they aren't contributing, they can help as well. Just spread the word of what you're doing. And I think that really helps, bring awareness towards your business or goals as well.
Definitely.
And how would you say that students should get started with professional branding?
Yeah. I think if you're kind of thinking, how do I even portray myself professionally, that's where you can come into the Career Development Center. That's where we can help you get started. I would say, though, as just starting to research and help get some images in your head of how you can use professional branding, look up some different brands online. So not necessarily even just other people, but look up some brands that you really like and see how they're portraying themselves. See how across different media they're keeping their brands consistent, because I think that can really help as well. Like, for instance, in one of my presentations, when I talk about professional branding, I show IKEA versus like Ford, right? Two totally different brands, but you can see so much about how those brands are portrayed and how they stand out. They do such a great job of showing that across all social media, across all outlets, really. And you can do that exact same thing with yourself professionally. So I would look at different brands and then also look at other people's professional websites. I mean, you can Google that. You can go on sites like canva.com to create your own professional website. I think that's a great one to get started on. You can go on sites like Weebly. That's a really easy one to get started on. And on Handshake, we have a whole section of resources where we have about 7 different free professional branding websites that you can get started on. So if you have any questions, we're always available in the Career Development Center to help you with that.
For sure. And I think also knowing, or not knowing, but looking at how people just have their LinkedIn set up, for example. I know that the experience is listed both with jobs, but also just activities outside of work or the professional environment. Learning how to list what those tasks that you do are, or why you're involved in those, and even following organizations that correlate with what your values are, and learning kind of to, not to say copy, but mimic their certain style choices if you're interested in them, and see what made them get, over 500 plus connections that could help you gain some connections as well.
Absolutely. And a great way to do that on LinkedIn is to connect with our alumni. So for those of you that don't know, there's an alumni tool on LinkedIn. And if you search Central Michigan University in the search bar, and then you click See Alumni, we have over 150,000 CMU alums, which is so, so cool. From there, you can search by location, you can search by major, you can search by what companies our alum are working at. What a great way to network. What a great way to do what Abby just said, to build your professional brand based on what you are seeing others doing. So check that out. And if you have any issues, again, the Career Development Center is here to help you with that too.
And you can follow us on LinkedIn as the Career Development Center of Central Michigan University, and see all the updates from alumni who are looking for new employees. They post job descriptions or internship opportunities as well. So definitely, for any of the CMU students out there, definitely check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so Abby, final question here. Okay. Why do you think it's important for students to use the Career Development Center?
I am going to mimic an answer, or I'm going to mimic a professor for my answer that once stayed with me to this day. That he said, he asked us why we were in college, and it, for some reason, rattled all of us. And we did not really know how to answer the question. And he said, you're here to get a job. You're here to learn how to advertise yourself and learn how to professionally market yourself to the job market after college. And if you're not using this time to, get involved in organizations and use the offices who have resources for you, what are you really taking away from this experience? And so for the Career Development Center specifically, we offer a variety of resources that can help anyone in their career development journey. So we do resume and cover letter reviews, we do presentations, we have the first impressions for anyone who needs professional clothes, and I believe it's free for the first time if they need some. So yep. Students, we love free clothes. And just in general, learning with the Fit for Hire program, you can now learn how to market yourself through elevator pitches, mock interviews, again, having your professional documents reviewed, and learning how to connect with others or look for a job on Handshake, which is a big thing here in the Career Development Center, as well as I think really any career development center on a college campus. But just getting familiar with the resources we provide, and having a career advisor or an assistant director who is also a career advisor in my terminology, who can help you find the internship or the co-op or the on or off campus job that can help you get to that next step, that your career peer position, which could then lead to your graduate assistantship in the future. So definitely utilize us. We are here for you.
Absolutely. And utilize us from anywhere from when you first step on foot on campus, your freshman year, up until you graduate and beyond that. So we are here as a service to you as an alumni too. So please utilize this service. We say that all of these services are free to you, but I hear a lot of professors, and I think this is so true. You pay for tuition. All of these services are part of that tuition. So utilize what you have for you. We have so many great resources on this campus, and our office is one of them. So definitely utilize what is here for you. Any final thoughts, Abby?
Thank you for inviting me. This was really fun. That flew by so fast. I knew you told me it would, but like this was a very fun time, and I enjoyed getting to share with you all some tips and tricks for the career professional development.
Awesome. I enjoyed having you on here, and it was so great to have a student perspective. I think that added so much to this, being able to hear from your perspective with everything going on as well. I know times are different and times are changing, but we're here to help you through it all. So I appreciate you being here with me, Abby, today. So thank you for being here on this lovely Wednesday morning. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and tune in not next week, but the following week, as these are every other week, and we will see you soon. So until then, please feel free to connect with us on social media and through our website as well. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.